All right, so we forgot to do the opening, so I'm going to film this and put this at the beginning. Welcome, everyone, to the Freddie and Alyssa Show. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that fun YouTube stuff. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure to follow. If you're listening on a platform like iTunes and you think we deserve a 5-star review, that would be awesome. We've been putting out content now for over 3.5 years. Our podcast is coming up on our 3-year anniversary at the end of April, and we want to thank you for all of your support throughout the years, and we feel like we're just getting started. And today we ended up going on, we talked about a million things today. We got into some light stuff, some more, not heavy stuff, but we got a little serious today on some things that we just wanted to just open our minds and have conversations about. And so enjoy today's episode. And before we queue up our episode from today, a word from our sponsor. Through me. I still haven't had a good thing there. Our sponsor today is Lennox. Lennox has been America's leading tableware, giftware, and home entertaining brand for over 130 years. Inspired by heritage and designed for now, Lennox is happy to be part of your home and the moments that you create in it. They have the best flatware, glassware, dinnerware, and if you're looking for a registry, if you want a gift for a newlywed couple, check out Lennox Engaged, and it's awesome because it's really quality stuff, which I think is important, because I know a lot of the times as we were growing up, we bought a bunch of cheap stuff and then it gets all weird. Lennox has high quality flatware, glassware, dinnerware, and it's absolutely incredible.
It's so beautiful too. You guys will love the designs. So chic, so cute.
You're big on the brand, so they do it well. Crafted of durable, high quality crystal. You can choose from rosé glasses, highball glasses, and more. And you can visit Lennox, Lenox.com. Again, that is Lennox.com, Lenox.com. And if you use code Freddie Alyssa, one word, Freddie Alyssa, at checkout, you will save 20% on your order. So if you're looking for a gift or you're looking for some flatware, glassware for yourself, be sure to check out Lennox.com and use code Freddie Alyssa for 20% off. Thank you, Lennox, for the support. We love partnering with amazing companies, and you are just incredible. So thank you very much. But now, everyone, we're going to go ahead and queue up today's episode of the Freddie and Alyssa Show.
Why are you looking so cute today?
I think it's the green shirt.
I always like really solid, bright colors on you. Blue is another really good color I like on you.
I do well with greens, blues, blacks, and grays.
There you go.
Purple is okay. Reds, yellows, and oranges, and like pastel pinks, like things like that don't go with my skin tone.
Yeah.
Like salmon color or anything like that. It blows me out.
Blows you out. So you're walking down the street, you got a salmon shirt on, and everyone goes, ah!
It's just like a floating head.
Where's his body?
That's why I found. Well, I found this because we were. What were we looking for in the trunk of the car?
Well, the other day we were shooting that commercial audition together, and I was asking you, I was like, you have to have some solid colored t-shirts, like green or blue, like those great booking colors.
It wasn't that though. It was the printer ink. You had to print out that social security number form.
That's right.
And we had the printer in the garage, but it was out of black ink. And I go, oh, there's black ink in a shoebox in our trunk. I remember having 2 cartridges. And when I went into the trunk of the car and started moving things around, I found my green shirt, which was one of my favorite shirts that I ordered specifically for the road trip.
Really?
Yep, because I wore... Because remember, I only wanted to pack a backpack. Since you filled up the entire car and trunk, I had a backpack and then my video equipment.
Yeah.
And I said, I need 3 black shirts and a green shirt, and I just ordered them because I needed a new shirt for every location we went to because I wasn't going to do laundry.
Right.
And I love this shirt.
It's a great shirt.
And I found it in the trunk.
So this top you got just offline?
Yeah.
Off of... Where'd you get that from? Amazon?
I think Amazon maybe, even though it's Nike.
It's Nike.
I think it was Amazon.
I love it. We got to get you some more of those.
Yeah, I'm slowly I have an entire wardrobe of washed larges that I need to get into. So if I lose about 10 more pounds, a washed large will fit me again. So I'll be in an unwashed medium and a washed large is a good size for me. Right now, I'm a unwashed large or a washed extra large.
Got it.
So, we should start a clothing brand and do our sizes that way.
washed large.
Well, you think about it, like why aren't clothes pre-shrunk?
Well, it's funny for me because when I wear my clothes, like if this were to get washed, I would need to hang it to dry. I'm not going to throw this in the dryer. So it would just dry. I would assume this is probably a medium, and it's always going to probably stay a medium.
Yeah, but I have just t-shirts and shorts that I just dry.
Yeah, I know you do.
I'm not going to have them hang out.
But if we do that, then maybe it's not a wash large. Maybe it will just be a large.
That is a luxury of time that
I
someone
know.
can wash laundry for a little bit and then go hang everything and then go get it all, then fold it all for just 4 days later to have it all need to be done again.
You know, for me, if it's over a certain dollar amount, like let's say if the shirt is over $30, I'm like, I should probably hang this up. Because, you know, you don't want it to shrink and then you can't wear it again. You want to take a little bit extra care of your nicer things. Do you feel that way?
I just don't have nice clothes anymore. Those are
Nike's a nice
Well, this
shirt.
is nice. Yeah, I ordered it. But the TJ Maxx, for me, I've realized if I go spend $200, I can get an entire wardrobe that can be washed and recycled for about 4 to 6 months. And then it's just old news. And then I go again. So I can pretty much spend less than $1,000 a year on all new wardrobe if you go to TJ Maxx or Marshalls.
Right.
And I just look for the deals. You can get name brand.
I know.
You know, like what were some of the like that's not even coming to me right now, but like real name brands, like an $88 t-shirt that's for $12.
Of course. I remember I loved TJ Maxx, and when we lived in Studio City, the first go around there was that big TJ Maxx right off of Ventura. Or maybe it was a Marshalls, same thing, same idea. And we would always go there and you get huge deals. And there was even this one pair of Steve Madden sandals. I think I had them for 4 years that I got from there. And eventually they broke recently right when we came here, but I wore them. And normally those are like $100. I've probably gone for 20.
Yeah, they have a lot of deals there. There's actually people I've seen on, I think Gary Vee has talked about it, and then it's a lot of people on TikTok are talking about it too. But there's a catch and there's difficult work to it because then everyone would do it.
Right.
But there's an app on Amazon and on eBay that you can scan the QR code of any shirt, and it'll show you what you need to price it for on those websites. And people have a side hustle where they will go to every Marshalls like every day and they look at the new stuff and they scan the original tag. Because you know how they put their deducted price on it? So if you scan and it says on eBay, this shirt's going for $21 and you can buy it at Marshalls for $8, people are buying those shirts, selling them on eBay. Then you pay your commission, you probably pay shipping, and then maybe you're left with like $5. So you would have to sell, 20 items a day to make $100 a day. But I wonder if that'd be very difficult, but I'm sure
Sounds like a headache, but if you really commit to it, like if you commit to anything, I'm sure you can.
If it's what you do. If you're like, you know what, I would rather, because I always think back to when I was serving and it was the best thing you could do because of the flexibility. But nowadays, there's a million jobs you could do. Like if there was Uber or Lyft or Postmates, or you could go and have these websites to flip stuff. Because I would go to work for 4 days a week at Outback as a host, and I make $14 an hour.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. Like nowadays, you can actually, like I would have much rather have spent my time on my own terms going and flipping clothes for $3,000 a month rather than the $1,700 I made at Outback. And then once I became a server, then I actually was making some pretty good money. I was pulling in like $2,200, $2,300 a month.
Yeah.
And as a single guy with a roommate with no debt or anything, was like fine. I had money to live. But yeah, there's so many more options now where you weren't locked into that schedule.
It's just so wild when you look back, because that's why I even stayed at that executive assistant position for so long. I did not like that job at all. It just wasn't. It was just not the best environment. But I stayed there because I had flexibility. It was good pay for that time, and you get comfortable.
Yeah.
I was like, well, where else am I going to go that I'm going to make this? And that, like, for me, I didn't really want to go into the restaurant world because I had no experience. I remember there's one time I tried to get like a serving job. It was right in Toluca Lake. I think it was I was trying to leave this job. I was like, let me just do this so I have flexibility. And I went in, and the guy was asking me all about like different liquors and what goes together, and I was like, oh no, I don't know any of this because I had no experience in it. And so I just like froze like a deer in headlights. Needless to say, I did not get the job, and I stuck with that other job until, you know, I came up with another option.
It's easy to stick with a job though because it's comfortable.
Of course.
You know, it's like, oh, like because I remember too that the flexibility of being a server is awesome. There's even times when you would be in a group text with 18 people and you're like, I don't want to work on Saturday afternoon. I have something to do. And you would text everyone, say, does anyone want to pick up a shift on Saturday? Crickets. An hour later, does anyone want to pick up my shift if I pay you $20 to take it? Crickets. Does anyone want to pick up my shift? I'll give you $40. I go, great. Here you go, Brandon. You're the first person.
You pay them $40?
You can pay people to take your shift because they're like,
no one would do it for 20?
Some would. It depends on the day.
Interesting.
And then there was times too that I would pick up someone's shift, but I wouldn't take the money because I'm hoping I could get a favor in return.
Next time.
But if you're bribed and you're like, you know, I was like, well, think about this. Like I pick up a patio shift on Saturday. It's from noon to 4. Yeah, it's going to interrupt my day, but I'll make $60 cash on the patio. It'll be easy. It's outside. It's beautiful. Kind of shoot the S with people, but I'm getting $40 to take the shift. So for $100 cash, I would go and do a patio shift. And then there was this office in the back. Because for me, the only reason I even left serving out back when I did was because of the big boss. And if there was a way that he wasn't there, it was the best job. It was so easy. And you made cash. It was so awesome. So I would go in the back when other managers were working. And if I could ever look at when he was scheduled, I would try to give those shifts away and pick up every day that he wasn't working because it was awesome.
Oh my God.
And you would work for 8 hours straight. So you would have, like, even when we were serving too, we would have something called a breaker, which is terrible to be scheduled a breaker because you make hourly and you just basically, because by law, you can't work 8 hours straight without a lunch break. So technically how it would work is if I had to go on a break, the breaker would go, hey, Freddie, you're going to take your lunch. The breaker would go and take over my tables for 30 minutes while I sat in the back and ate. And then the breaker would move to the next person. And the breaker had their own code that worked on all tables because usually a server has their own code, but a breaker has like a universal code. I think that's how that worked. But we always figured out that you lose money if you break the relationship with your table. So what we would do is we would say, hey, I'm going to go on break. So Freddie would clock out, but I would use the breaker's code and never actually stop working. So I would just work 8 hours straight. You would make so much money, and then you just eat in the back. Like you just grab like one of those Outback loaf of bread, or if there's like a dead plate of something, you'd like scarf it down real quick. But you'd work for 8 hours, and I'd bring home like $150, $160 cash. And at the end of the day, they're like, how much money did you make? Because they have to put it for taxes. And I think every server does this. You just type in $1, and then the machine goes, that is inaccurate. You have to at least claim $29 because it knows the credit card transactions.
Okay.
So if you swipe a credit card and people pay and they tip on a credit card, the machine knows what you made in tips, but the machine doesn't know what you make in cash.
So you can...
So if you make $150, but 87 of it was in credit card tips and the rest was in cash, you claim $87.
Oh, so if you can tip in cash,
if you can
should.
tip in cash...
so they don't have to claim it?
Yeah.
Essentially? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's such bad advice. You didn't hear it here.
Yeah, I heard people did that. I don't think I ever did that.
Right.
You know.
But if you think about it, when I am sitting and I have a server and then they leave or whatever and someone else comes in, you're like, oh. Like you said, you kind of like lose the trust and you're like, well, who am I tipping? I really liked my server, but he left.
Yeah,
you know, you get a little confused.
Most people are still going to leave 20% if you're a decent tipper. Like you leave 20% no matter what, unless the person's like rude to you, like deliberately rude or deliberately terrible. But some people you have to win over. Mm-hmm. You know, they're like, oh my God, you were the best server ever. Like you left 10%.
Oh, that hurts.
20% people on a sit-down restaurant. 20%.
I never
20%.
worked in a restaurant, and I've always tipped 20%. Because I just feel like if you are taking the luxury of going out, you know, these people who are working there, they live off of the tips too. It's a big part of it.
I wonder how tips got started. It's pretty bizarre, actually. That why doesn't the restaurant just pay higher wages? I mean, obviously I know why, but I wonder why you're taking it out of the customer's pocket.
Maybe it gives just more incentive to servers to win over and go above and beyond for each and every customer, because the customer, if they feel like they're not getting the best service, they're going to go, I'm not going to tip as much. It's a by basis thing. You know, not every server is going to be amazing. Not every server is going to be horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe if they did like a universal 15% added in, I think servers would be happy, because at the end of the day, I think I always ended up with about 12 to 15% on average compared to your sales, because so many people would stiff you, not stiff you, but like $5 on 200.
$5 on 200. Well, also too, if you go to bougier restaurants, tip is already included, like gratuity, like a 20-25%. And then some people tip on top of that because they don't realize.
Well, but did you also realize, though, that it's because those high-end places have the money and they train people, and people going there aren't just going there. If you're going to be a server at a high-end restaurant where the average plate is $40, $50, they're making a killing, like $80,000 a year type job. Yep. So you can tell the difference of the servers who are extremely knowledgeable. They're not just there where they're running in, getting dressed in the back, going, hi, what can I get you? Like at a Hooters or Outback or Olive Garden or Buffalo Wild Wings, like people are just like grabbing quick jobs for extra cash. But if you go to a restaurant where you're getting served a $55 steak, the training, I think, and like to get in is difficult.
Oh my gosh, so difficult. And what's funny in LA is the higher end of the restaurant you go to, you probably see a lot more aspiring models, actresses, because a lot of the serving staff is like drop dead gorgeous. But this is what they do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they take it very seriously. They've worked for years at these high-end restaurants because it's a little bit different. But it's so funny. You always go and you're like, oh, what do you do? Because you know that this isn't their end-all, be-all. They're there to pursue something else. So it's just interesting, but you get paid a lot if you do get a high-end gig.
You really do, and it's just interesting how no matter what job you have, though, in LA, like even if you're making $80,000 as a high-end bottle service girl or a bartender or a server, you still, after taxes and after the cost of living, even splitting a 2-bedroom apartment on the 3rd floor with neighbors everywhere in a small little place, you're paying $1,600 plus your insurance plus everything. You have to be so financially frugal and smart that even after 10 years of doing that and being so smart, you'll have enough to put a down payment or to make some investments. But a lot of people don't do that because you're just like, look, I've worked 45 hours. Yeah. I'm so busy. I'm working on my side hustles. Like I want to go out and spend some money and have some fun. It's just such an interesting place that it breeds. Like if you want anything extra, you have to make a ton of money. And that's what's super interesting about even the whole minimum wage debate that they're talking about federally is, depending on where you live, like $15 an hour, even in California, you can't live on that. It just depends on where you live. Like in California, if you were lucky enough to have no college debt, no debt whatsoever, and you had to go to California, find a job, get an apartment, lease a car, or if you're like, oh, you know what, it's smarter financially to buy a used car. Great. Where are you going to come up with $6,000 to buy a used car? And then with rent, how many places do you need 2.5 times the rent and income? And you need a 700 credit in some places.
Oh my gosh.
Like it's not really set up for, like you need groups to live in California.
Yeah.
If you have 4 roommates who are all serving, now you can go and get a 2-bedroom. You all split it. And that's how you live, but it's just, you have to become financially successful in a place like Hollywood.
Oh my gosh. But that's why so many people stay behind and are behind, and it's just high overhead there. It's so hard to get ahead while you're hustling, trying to make it work. And then this is a completely different conversation, but I've seen this a lot as the years have progressed. Back when we lived in LA, a lot of these, really beautiful individuals were working as servers, high-end restaurants, bottle service, all of that. But as the times have changed and social media has become big, they have these apps for what they call sugar babies. And it's not, sometimes it's just like their company that they're hanging out with people, but sometimes these people will pay money to hang with younger, beautiful women. And then it's a whole nother topic, really. But I see it a lot on TikTok. And a lot of people are like, this is the new way that we do things. And so they're getting a lot of money when they're young. And, not to say like this or that, but it's really popular.
Yeah.
Really popular in LA. I mean, I've read some crazy stories too. It's just part of the culture out there now. It's Los Angeles. It's a big city. A lot of high-powered people who just want things quick right then and there. And there are apps for it. It's crazy.
There's apps for everything.
I know.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. Is like you can be a sugar baby. You can start an OnlyFans. Yeah. And for those of you who aren't familiar, OnlyFans is really, really picking up, and it's marketed as anyone can kind of be on it, but the general idea of OnlyFans is that it's Instagram, exactly Instagram, but X-rated.
Yes.
So people are doing videos, they're doing pictures where it's more than risque. Like it'd be banned on Instagram, but people are paying a monthly subscription anywhere from $10, $20, $30 a month to follow and pay, but it's all, basically selling sex. I would say probably 80%.
Because I will tell you too, there are some celebs who are on there, like Holly Madison, she was famous for being one of the girls next door, Hugh Hef's girlfriends in the reality show, but she also did Playboy. However, her stuff on the OnlyFans account is not like X-rated. It's just like bikini or lingerie.
Yeah.
So some people, it's still risque, but like not really.
Yeah.
If it's all off, then, which is a lot of it is, if you're looking around. But there are some, I feel, famous people, like even Bella Thorne. I don't think she
does nude. No, but no. I mean, you don't know because you have to pay for that. But it's insane the amount of money that people are making.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like selling sex. I think has always been in demand and popular. But now, obviously, with technology, it's going to open up for that as well. But on the flip side too, this is why the behavior of people, because of social media, is also changing, and people no longer are just getting their 15 minutes of fame. Because anybody who had 15 minutes of fame in 2007, you had all the attention in the world, and then you were 15 minutes of fame, and that's it.
Yep.
Now, if you can get 15 minutes of fame, you can amass a following that's not a sugar baby, that's not on OnlyFans, but on traditional social media, and you can make a living. Because even if you half-ass the business, and you have 15 minutes of fame, you date a famous actor, you date a famous rapper, you get on Dr. Phil, you're on a reality show, no matter what it is, and you amass 1 million followers, even if you are the worst social media influencer known to man, with 1 million followers, you can accidentally make $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
So you're going to sit home, take a few pictures, live your life, and not have to go do bottle service, not have to go serve tables, not have to do to go drive Uber and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So we have to take into consideration the way people are acting these days is some people don't care. Some people just want love on Instagram and all that. They're like, I want the likes for self-validation.
Right.
A lot of people are also doing it because they are aware that likes means followers, means money, means quit my job, means work from home, means be famous, means more access, more free things, money, likes, validation, depending on which route you go. Yep. But I think that's why there's also so much noise on social media now, even politically, because I think a lot of people are hiding behind the fact that they care, and they do. But if they couldn't be on social or get followers with it, there'd be a lot less noise.
Yes.
People have found that if you say so-and-so sucks, they're evil. So many people are going to go click on that. And they go, ooh, likes, follows. This is my thing now. I'm going to learn and care about this more. There were people before social media that were activists, that protest, that got people together, that really wanted to make change. I would argue there's 50% of people online, if not more, that they like the smoke. They like the attention on them. If that all went away, they would not go march. They would not get groups together. They would not care. It is self-fulfilling.
Everyone wants attention.
Yep.
I mean, and this is really, really drastic and horrible, but you even see, a lot of these school shooters or anything like that, they want the celebrity. Like, they literally say it because people, when these big, horrible things happen, you talk about it, you're like, who did it? And then you're talking the name of this horrible human being.
Yep.
And I feel like as social media and the internet has gotten bigger, 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 we've seen more of it. Now, granted, it might be that we're able to connect and talk quicker, so you hear more about the horrible things happening in life, but they all want, even if it's the bad villain, everyone wants the attention. It's just what I feel like humans want in general, good or bad. Because when you get it, you're kind of like, oh, they like when I do this. Maybe I should do this a little bit more. You see it on TikTok all the time. The second someone has a viral video, they'll keep making content like that because they're like, people like this. You see it all the time. They're like, ooh, this is my niche. Let me kind of get in there and do it. It's a good thing, but it just depends what, it is that people are pivoting to be like, ooh, people like this. I got to keep doing this. Got to keep doing this.
And I think people have obviously the right to do whatever they want to do, but I think it's interesting to share that this is what's going on. So, like, even with the news, I remember Andrew Schultz had the best analogy with this, or not the analogy, but in for instance, the 80s and 90s, it was financially beneficial for news stations to play to the middle because they found through advertising that if they played to the middle, they would get conservatives and progressives or like everybody. If you played to the middle, everyone, the left and the right, would come together and they would get the most views because there was no other distractions. So if they came out radical left or radical right, you would lose half your audience and advertising would go down. So in the 80s and 90s, it was financially beneficial to the advertisers and to all the news networks to play it as middle as possible to get the biggest audience because bigger numbers, bigger followers, same thing, more advertising money. Now that things shifted to social media, there is outlets everywhere and people need to compete. So they have found when CNN talks negatively about Donald Trump, their viewers go up. They want to actually pick a side, and then because there is more money in picking a side and gaining all of the people that are like, yeah, or having people go there to get angry about it, there's more money.
Yep.
If they found out that being in the middle again would create more money, they would switch it in a day.
Yep.
It's all boils down to the attention. With our podcast, we're not controversial. If we became controversial, we would lose a lot of people, but we would gain a lot of people because there'd be so much noise around. Did you hear what they said? Did you hear? And everyone would share.
Yeah.
You're crazy. You're stupid. You're like the algorithm goes ding, 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 ding. Push them all the way to the top. Money. Controversy, hot button topics. That's why if you flip through Instagram, flip through the news, flip through TikTok, everything is this kind of attitude. It is this attitude. It is telling people what to do. It is getting people emotional. What do emotional people do? They comment. They like. Ding, 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 ding. Money.
Well, yeah, but it's always been like that. Even think about paparazzi. All the stories that they would sell that were controversial would pay more.
Yep.
People want to talk. I don't know. It's in our nature.
It's in our nature, but it's a shortcut, and it's not a that's why you and I don't do it. We know that we could share our beliefs on certain topics that would get more attention and we'd make more money, but it's short term because then we will be the people that now we would just keep making content.
Right.
We say we don't like X and we get a lot of attention and money, then our entire brand goes towards that because all the people who are now watching and getting us paid want to hear about X. If you say something else, now you've lost everyone. So we're looking long term. We're like, how do we be us, talk about important subjects, but not do it in a way where you're creating controversy on purpose for money. That's where you're going to lose long term, and I just don't believe it's good. What I would like to see people do, and I'm just one person, but I would love for people to instead of demonizing the other side, create why your side is so awesome and be inspirational. Of when I watch you, I go, actually, what a nice group of people. They don't hate, they don't bully, they make good points. I don't agree with everything, but they're living a really inspirational life. I think I'm going to go check that out.
Yep.
People aren't doing that. They want to be like, you're this, you're this, you're this, you're this. But us, we're the best. You're the worst. We're the best. You're the worst. And everything about you is terrible. Come join us or you're the worst. Why not just say, hey, look how much we are here. We care about this, this, and this. You guys can do whatever you want. You guys and girls can do whatever you want. But for us, this is how we do it. But they don't. It's the same thing with the film. Like, I would love for a film to come out and someone just say, we have the most diverse group of cast and crew that came together to tell a story that was never told before. There are so many people in this country that have never seen themselves as a superhero, and we came together, and at this production company, we created the most diverse, most truthful, most honest story because we want equal representation across the board. And if you're available this weekend when it comes and it opens up, go to the theaters, be safe. You're going to love this story. It's for everyone. It shows that love is love, and it's just amazing. You're going to fall in love with the lead character, and we're just proud. We have a woman director. We have a diverse cast and crew, and it is amazing. You have to come check it out. We're so proud of it. I'm in. But what is it today? It is, we have the most diverse cast and crew ever. This story is amazing. It's so incredible, and we're the only ones doing it. You don't do it. If you're not having this, then you're evil. You're racist.
So why do you feel that is? That they do it that way and not the first way you mentioned?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, when you were telling me the story, it made me think back to when we first had left LA, when we were starting on our road trip, and we stopped in, I think it was Scottsdale, and we were at the Phoenician, and it was the debate with Trump and Biden, and it was just such a mess because they were just attacking, like, it was just like really messy.
The first one was the worst.
And I was just like, these are the people that are going to be our leaders? And they're attacking each other like we're in 6th grade?
It wasn't even attacking. It was just there was nothing being there was no problem solving. There was no, like, okay, like, I don't
know. It was just messy.
Yeah, I don't know. And I think it's because the psychology is the same way. If Biden or Trump or anyone, not to make it about the two most,
right,
people that people pick sides on, but no matter who it is, I just don't think there's any, hey guys, I'm not going to say anything bad. Like, Joe's a great guy, Trump's a great guy, and I love him, but here's why I think you should pick me. Because I'm going to do this, and here's how you explain it. And if we break this down, let's pull up this thing. I know we only have a minute here, but I really want to show you in the simplest form. This is how the healthcare system's going to work, and this is what it would pay, and this is what it would be. Well, people wouldn't want to listen. And even now, people are like, wait, did you just say Joe Biden is a nice... Did you just say Trump is a nice... They are the most evil, like, no matter which side you're on. There is no just conversation. And that's why I was such a fan of Andrew Yang.
I was just going to say that.
Regardless if you agreed with his policies, he never talked down to anybody. He just disagreed, but came with numbers, and he talked. And you know what people did in the mainstream? They shunned him. No one even knows Andrew Yang. Granted, he's doing pretty good for running for mayor in New York right now.
The thing with Yang that was just so crazy to me is every single debate in the very beginning, like, we were so excited, we were watching, and they would just give him zero time, zero airtime. They wouldn't even ask him questions. They wouldn't let him speak. And so many people just didn't, they're like, who's this guy? From the very beginning. And then slowly they started to learn, but,
It's, I mean, this would get into a more deep kind of thing, but there's reasons why he wasn't getting the attention.
Of course.
But I don't know. It's just the world is changing. We're trying to navigate, and it's hard to not say anything when we know, like, what's going on. But at the same time, there's just a bunch of people, like, yelling at each other, and you almost feel like we have more of a voice than we've ever had, but at the same time, no, because there is the handful of big corporations and governments that are making the decisions, and we're just all kind of fighting. And at the end of the day, I think the best thing, and I really mean it, not how like politicians say it, but we need to come together as a people, and we need to do what's best for our families and our friends and our communities.
Yeah,
and we need to be nice to each other. But I just don't even see a way back at this point, because everyone assumes as soon as you say that you like Biden or you like Trump, you've already have a profile made about you. You know, like it's different. Like back in the day, I feel like you could say, "Oh yeah, I was a supporter of Bush, or I was a supporter of Clinton," and I feel like people would go, "Oh okay," but like so. Oh, but you like, oh okay. So you support Clinton, but you also like this. Or you like Bush, but you like, now it is, oh, if you voted that way, we have a profile on you and we know.
It's very extreme now.
It's very, very extreme. And it's like, where's the individuality? Like, where's the people that don't fit every box? Like, that's how we are. We don't fit if you put a profile together of Trump and Biden, a lot of people check every box, which is fine. But there's a lot of us.
Well, there's probably a lot that have
80% of us that check boxes on both sides, and then we leave some blank. But there is no room for that. It is, you are buying into these check boxes or these, and if you leave any blank or you have any box checked, even one Trump box checked or one Biden box checked, it's not mainstream.
That's why people who run for independent, they don't really get that far, because people are like, no, we got to be on one side or the other. The media's made it into that. Why do we have to be all in one box on one side? Why? Well,
do you realize, though, when you vote, that they even have the D or the R next to who it is? Someone was saying, they're like, why don't you just have the policies and the people, like, because some people will just go, like, who are diehard D's or diehard R's. I don't know who that is, but R.
I mean, I'm even guilty of that. I remember when I first started voting in Cali, I would look at that because I'm like, oh, okay. Because I had no clue. I mean, even when you still vote, I don't know everything it's a lot of stuff. You're like, wait, what's this one again? And that's why they also make like voting cheat sheets for each party in your community, so you know, oh yeah, make sure yes on this, no on that. This is the right, depending on your party, of course. It's
just very clear that having an educated voter base is not the intention.
Of 100%.
The simplicity of it is not the intention.
100%.
Because you look around and go, well, I mean, this could be better. This could be easier. They want you to
be confused.
They just passed a $1.9 trillion stimulus bill that had like 680 pages in it. How could anyone, if those are the things that they want passed, and by the way, I think 10% of it went to the people. 90% went to things that had nothing to do with the stimulus package, even though it's called the stimulus bill. 600 pages. How can on a debate stage, how do you break down healthcare in 1 minute with a 30-second rebuttal? It's not set up for there to be like, I would much rather have like, it was Biden's night, and for 2 hours he's with the dry erase board and he goes, here's all my policies, here's what I want to do, here's how it's implemented, and let me answer all the questions, not the dodging ones. Like, you get up there and say, here's my health plan. So for 2 hours, you watch Biden and talk about his health plan. What's it going to cost? And then you have people from both sides that answer questions, but then you watch the press secretary, they ask questions, and then you're like, that wasn't the answer. Is the sky blue? Well,
here's the thing about the sky.
Yeah. See, the whole thing is the way you're asking about the sky. I'm going to have to circle back on whether the sky is blue, because technically you're thinking about how we visually see it. But if you're asking me the correct, it's like, I just want, is the sky blue? Yes or no. So we know, but it's all dodging. It's all, and that is how you pivot. You know, it's like, are you going to raise taxes? That was a really good question, Nancy. And you're a school teacher. See, my mom taught me in school about being nice to people. And when it comes to making money and paying your fair share of taxes, that is what we're going to do. Because I know what it's like having a mother who's a teacher, and I appreciate you, Nancy. Can we give Nancy a round of applause? I don't want a round of applause. I just wanted to know if you're going to raise taxes. And she's a strong woman. Can we give Nancy a round of... No, the taxes, please. We have to move on. I'm sorry. We have to move on.
But this is what we're going to see change, which we've already seen a bit of it, is that old traditional politic life of how they were bred to what was right, how they should act, what they should say. Like even Biden, when he's talking, you can tell he was coached by, just the old school mentality of this is how you talk to people. If you do this, if I tell you right here, like they're taught a different way to connect when we're newer in this connecting world through social media, that we would just speak differently and be from our heart because that's going to connect with people. So even with Trump, hate him or love him, he connected. He connected and he was just himself. And that's why people...
Well, when you watched him, you're like, what is he gonna? You just never knew what he was gonna do.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Biden, there's a lot of just like reading. It almost seems like you're not connecting. Like I want someone who's gonna be like, if you're gonna mess up what you're saying, but you're not on a teleprompter, people are gonna give you like, if I'm here and I'm talking about something, I go, I just don't. I don't know. I truly don't know how to answer that right now, and I don't want to give the wrong information. I will get back to all of you on Instagram. I'll go live. I'll tell everybody later. But here's what we're going to do about the people. But it's a lot of like, and here's what we're going to do. Because this is what it is, and it's like no one talks like that. And that's why all these...
they're taught because it worked for years, but it doesn't work anymore because now we're seeing on social media that you just want to connect and you want to talk to people and you want to hear from them like they're right here.
But that's how people are going into business, and that is what I'm so passionate about, because I'm literally noticing the two worlds, that there are people who live in social media and there are people who live in the real world. The real world is slowly going away, whether you like it or not, and social media is taking over. So with even Alyssa and myself, if we're going to... Well, we actually went to Google and found a dentist here. So that actually doesn't... Well, but I'm saying...
What were you going to say? I'm confused.
Well, I was going to say that like... all these like videos of there's like dentists who are 28 years old who have a cool hip office who are like, hey, and they're putting out videos and they're fun, and you're going to the dentist and you're like, hey, I know this guy, he's so awesome. But what you think of a dentist is those old flowered chairs. It's just like a 57-year-old guy who's just super boring, who doesn't care. But there's like 29-year-old dentists who are, they know their stuff. They have new education. They're trying to, use this new world.
Just a new world,
and chiropractors and all this stuff. And it's obviously, I'm not taking away. Obviously, there's amazing 57-year-old dentists that are awesome and the best in the world. But I'm saying there's this new generation of how we want to be communicated to. And it is not the old school. I do not want somebody to come up there and that's why Trump captured everyone's attention.
Yeah.
He went up there and you're just like, what is this guy going to say?
He's going to say what's on his mind.
Even Obama spoke well. He connected very well. I loved how Andrew Yang connected.
Yep.
There was authenticity in the way it was said. Kamala doesn't have an ounce of authenticity in her body. There's a lot of people too that were running in even with Bernie, people don't like him, but he is passionate about what he's saying.
Yeah.
I believe him. Whether you agree with him or not, he is connecting in a real way.
Yeah.
Kamala, Joe, a lot of other people are not. This is not you saying it.
It's the traditional politician way, like being politically correct, taught to speak a certain way and have posture in a certain way, which is all good and fine.
You need that. You need to be respected. You need to have that. But yeah, it's like I just want to hear you. The idea of you pretending to connect with the teacher is not really connecting with the teacher.
But here's the thing too, though, with politicians, 99.9% of them are not entertainers. Trump was an entertainer before, and that is why he was entertaining to watch. Kamala, Joe, they're not actors. They've never been on a set, even reality, and had to, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a different delivery too. So maybe that's why it was that way and why they're trained with different coaches They don't know. And also, too, to sit there and be 100% yourself and be vulnerable when you've never been taught to do that, as actors are, they don't know how to do that.
Or they're scared to death because there are people who lobbied for things to be done and you can't say things.
Exactly.
That's like us with our sponsor to be like, yeah, we don't even use silverware.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and Lennox goes, you don't use silverware? Well, then why are you promoting this? I'm paying you money.
Yep.
Pull it.
Yep. That's very true.
So
too.
there's people
probably a
who-
lot more pressure. That
There's
we could
so much
ever
that we don't
imagine.
know. There's so much that we don't know.
Look at us here,
but
putting our 2 cents in.
Well, because I still feel like there's ways to be able to talk about things that are going on without, I want to be able to objectively, when I watch Joe, our president, talk about something and Kamala talk about something, I want to be able to be like, that's really good.
Yeah.
And not be like, oh, he hates Trump, you're a socialist loser. And I also don't want to have to say, yeah, Joe and Kamala, I don't like what they just did. And they go, he's a Trumper. It's like, no, I just am listening to the
And
facts
commentating on what I'm seeing.
and how I have personal experience. The thing you're going to get with me is I'm not an echo chamber where I just spout out. You're going to get an individual, well thought out, well researched personal experience about a certain policy. Yeah. And there's always going to be people that can say, well, you know what? You might be educated in it. You might know, but guess what? You don't know what it's like to grow up in Alabama. You don't know what it's like to grow up in Maine. You don't know what it's like. And I was like, nope, I don't. I know what it's like to grow up in Ohio. I know what it's like to grow up as me. And I'm going to share that because I'm an individual. And then if you have an opposing idea, then you can educate me, like I was saying earlier, about being inspirational and talking to me about, listen, when I grew up in Alabama, this is the problem with minimum wage. Instead of, you grew up in Ohio. You didn't grow up in Alabama. You don't know what it's like for $7.25. You know nothing about this. You're an idiot. So keep your mouth shut. This isn't your discussion. Or you could just kind of show me why and let me into your world. Everything is storytelling. We watch movies to learn, to be let into a world, because I can't live vicariously through 20,000 people, even as an actor.
Yeah.
How many roles as an A-list movie star can you really play and get to know? 100 in your career if you're lucky? There's millions of different avenues in life and experiences that every individual will never know.
Yep.
We don't know what it's like to have to come out to our parents. I played a role where I got to be a little more in it,
Sure.
to maybe have an understanding a little bit,
Yeah.
but not fully.
Of course.
But why am I going to be attacked for not knowing? Like, that's not my journey. I don't know, but
not
I
your
want to
story,
listen and I want to hear and I want to know and I want to learn. Like, tell me. Like, that's what makes you an individual and makes you unique. My story makes me unique. Don't you want to know what it's like to grow up in Ohio? Or being someone who did go to college or didn't go to college or had their parents together or didn't have their parents together, or who is transgender, who's straight?
And everyone's
Don't you
story
wanna
is
know
what
their
makes
story?
the world go round, so you can learn and continue to absorb and grow your mind.
Yeah, help me understand.
Even earlier when you were talking about the dentist situation of, older traditional dentist offices compared to what, say, millennials are doing, imagine in 20 years or even in 10 years when Gen Z is really in the workforce and they're, therapists or doctors or dentists, or they have their own practice. What's that going to look like? And you see funny TikToks of younger Gen Zers now pretending to be therapists. And they're like, what's your sign? Oh, you're Virgo? Okay.
They're making fun of themselves.
Yeah, which is fun, but it's a different generation. So I'm sure they're going to bring their culture and their ideas and their taste to what they're going to do in the future. They're just still young. And for the first time, millennials are actually in the workforce, like where you can respect them. Once you hit your 30s, it's a little different than 20s. Still young.
Yeah, I feel like people still looked at us in business at 25 and they're like, you're
okay.
good. But like I remember someone was like, I'm not taking advice from a 26-year-old.
Yeah.
Someone told me that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, fair.
I understand.
I'm going to become very successful and you'll be listening to me soon. And but yeah, it's I think what this all boils down to is, for the first time ever, Gen Z and younger have thoughts of their growing minds Because think about us at 18 years old. My God, if I had a microphone, who knows what I'd be saying? They have the widest platform in the world. And the reason that we're living in the social media, internet world, and reality, we are truly living in both worlds. They are real in both worlds. And then you have different groups of generations that are so different.
Yeah.
And it never was like that, because if you and I right now, there was no social media, we didn't leave home, or we did move and we went somewhere else and lived, we don't know what 12-year-olds to 19-year-olds are doing. They're getting together, doing things with their clothes, listening to this music, having all these ideas. But all we know is our two nephews who would be 14. And then we would judge all 14-year-olds off of the 14-year-old nephews who grew up in the same town we did.
Yep.
On TikTok, I am watching 19-year-olds. I'm watching 87-year-olds from all over the world with different backgrounds and stories share their opinions. And I feel like people who aren't in the social media world are still holding on to this old world, and it's going away fast. And before you know it, people are going to blink and go, we're just living in this world. And everything in this fake world is becoming more real. And that is why even something like NFTs sounds ridiculous, but it's going to become the new normal. And just a little quick thing on NFT, they stand for non-fungible tokens, where people are creating these digital art or digital passes or it's a digital item that is not tangible, non-fungible token that people are paying tons of money for to own, like a piece of art like the Mona Lisa. So like Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, or the creator of Twitter, he made his very first tweet from 2006 into a NFT. And people are bidding on owning the rights to that photo. And it's up to $2.5 million.
That's so crazy.
So people are making non-fungible tokens. And it's like, well, why would anyone pay that? Because in the future, we're moving more and more into our phones. And what you own digitally is going to be the new flex. Because I remember as a kid wanting a Maserati or a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, because that was the token.
Right.
That you wanted to show success.
Yeah.
We don't even go anywhere. Why would I waste money on that? But if I could have a non-fungible token that everyone's like, that's a Michael Jordan rookie card that you own. That's a first edition Charizard Pokemon card. It's all the same. You own the Mona Lisa? Wow, someone's sophisticated.
So is NFT more so like big picture for the VR world?
Yes, it's going to be from what I heard. I'm hearing pieces of it from like from Logan Paul, Gary Vaynerchuk, like people who are in the field. But essentially, Gary Vee was explaining it that back in the day, people would come over to your house and you would spend money on your house, not only to feel good, but to show off. Look at this couch. Look at this Rolex. Look at that painting. Oh my God, is that real? He had to have spent $2 million on that. It's a $2 million painting. Oh my God, he's got Muhammad Ali's boxing gloves in a case upstairs. Oh my God, status.
Yeah.
But we're going to start building digital worlds. So people are going to be able to put on your VR, come into your VR house, and they're going to see your non-fungible token hanging on the wall, that this new digital artist, and they're like, you're the one that has it?
Can you imagine what's going to happen when they start selling real estate in VR? Like 20 years, if you go into your VR world.
There's going to be people who develop it.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, we're doing that now. We're paying people to build us a website for people to go to.
Yeah.
If you and I were going to build the Freddie and Alyssa app and we got rid of all the other apps, and if you want to come into our world, you download the Freddie and Alyssa app, we would pay someone $20,000 to build us an app, to upload videos, to have banners and colors and messages. And we're already paying people to build applications. But once we start living more in the world, we're going to be building virtual reality. And then here's my favorite part. So I keep hearing about these season passes. So for instance, they were saying something like Gary was saying, Chipotle could come out with an NFT of the golden burrito. And for a limited time, you can go and buy a golden burrito NFT. Say it's $1,000, but there's a limit. So there's only 1,000 golden burrito NFTs, and only 1,000 people can buy them. The first 1,000 to pay $1,000 and has that golden burrito, when they go to Chipotle for the rest of their life and they have the golden burrito NFT, they get free Chipotle for life.
Because they just paid $1,000.
I know, but it's all about status. So okay, let me change it then to $10. $10.
Okay,
$10. Okay. You get free Chipotle for life.
Got it.
So they use that NFT. They have it's $10, but they get free Chipotle for life. Then all of a sudden they go, I no longer like Chipotle. They can sell that NFT, and someone might go, oh my God, one of the 1,000 people with the golden burrito is selling it, and then there's a bidding war.
It's no longer $10.
It gets sold for $10,000.
Interesting. Okay.
Now that's a crazy example, but for us, like, or even Gary Vaynerchuk, he's going to create NFTs that are going to give front row VIP access for life to any keynote speech that he does. So if you and I bid and win that for $5,000, we go front row to Gary V for the next 7 years. Then then we're like, you know what? We're kind of over this. We're not going to go to Gary anymore. And then we sell, because there's a limited amount. We sell that NFT to someone else who might buy that pass from us for $100,000. So the NFT is an investment. So when you and I start doing tours and we start going places in like 5 years to 8 years, like once we're big enough, we could sell a limited edition 50 NFTs, and any of the limited 50, whoever buys the 50 NFTs can come to any event we have anywhere in the country for free. And they pay, say, $100 or $1,000, whatever they'd be worth. But then say when we're 52 years old and we have, like, people are lining up to come see us, and the original 50 have those, that $100 NFT might be going for $500,000, and that person is going to be able to sell that and make money, and then they no longer have access, but that new person has access. And this is all done on the blockchain.
This is some Black Mirror stuff.
It's here.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's actually here. Like, we can go buy NFTs.
Well, yeah.
We can create NFTs.
I heard that NFTs are all run by the blockchain Bitcoin Ethereum.
I think it's through Ethereum. So yeah,
They can manipulate the whole market to make people think NFTs are important. Everyone invests, and they're like, just kidding. But good.
I mean, I think the whole entire Bitcoin, that's the point that's against it. It's the actual dollar is more manipulated, more able to be manipulated than the blockchain.
Could be. Or
Bitcoin in general, because we're just putting value on it.
It's true.
So, and it's just scarcity. That's the whole entire brand of Supreme was like that. Mm-hmm. Google Supreme, if you don't know what Supreme is. Supreme it was sold for $1 billion, I think. And they built a brand that if you had something Supreme, it was a collector's item, because this Nike shirt, they made 1 billion of them.
Right.
There's nothing valuable about this. But with Supreme, they only made a limited edition.
Yep.
Like if we stopped selling the Freddie and Alyssa Show t-shirts and we said there's just 1 day left and we never sold them again, anyone who has our original Freddie and Alyssa t-shirt, it's a collector's item because no one else can have them. Our Pivot Principle book. Mm-hmm. Those people who have those, no one else will ever have that. And that could be worth something in the future if we keep growing. Which we will.
You know what's interesting about the NFT stuff? Because I remember seeing the very first NFTs made. It was all those really small little portraits of how many, they call them like zombies. Like say there's like 80 of them. They're all original. When you think back to why art is so valuable today from like a long, long time ago, it's because it was one of a kind. That's what NFT is trying to recreate, but in a digital world.
Yeah, everything's being created digitally.
One-of-a-kind paintings. Like Mona Lisa, why is that so important and so valuable?
But people made that up, right?
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. It's no different, just different generations.
Like it's different if there was an actual like genie's lamp.
Right.
That a genie came out and gave you wishes. That's obviously valuable.
Yeah.
But like a random painting, how did the Mona Lisa become the prime thing? Like why?
Well, I think as the years passed and passed and passed and passed, and you hear a lot of time when it comes to artists, whether it was based on books or paintings or even songs, they were found years later and made famous years later, like when they weren't even here.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if like our YouTube videos were found in 300 years and we were just the most famous in the world?
After we're dead?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. We're looking down going, we're so glad you guys are enjoying it.
We were patient.
But that happens to people. It really does, especially like creators, just in any aspect.
There's just a social, I don't know what it is with the hierarchy of human beings, but there is something about status, power that people, like that's why you're glued to the Kardashians. Well, I hate the Kardashians. Well,
But you're curious.
but people are glued to these high status symbols. And that's like, even if, like as soon as a celebrity wears something of yours, it instantly becomes cool. So if you can create a brand and we call it, you know, the Fast brand, and Lil Wayne is wearing it, and it's like all of the pop people are like, where'd he get this? Where'd he get this? And we're like, there's only 300 shirts. Those shirts would automatically, because if Lil Wayne has it, it must be cool. Or if Beyonce has it, or Kim Kardashian has it, there's something about status, celebrity, popularity. And Gary even brought up too, the blue check mark on Instagram is technically an NFT.
Of course it is.
In the sense that it is not real. Mm-hmm. It is not real,
Yep.
but holds so much value because there's a limited amount.
Yeah.
To get a blue check mark is a limited amount. The blue check mark on Insta, as silly as this sounds, is the equivalent of back in the day of having on like a suit, or having a car,
Sure.
or having a flat screen TV when they first came out, or driving a Lamborghini, or having a Rolex, or having like whatever the status symbol is.
Yep.
Having a blue check mark is a limited amount of people who have it, and you have to accomplish a certain amount of something in order for that blue check mark to count. So therefore there's a status, and then amongst the status of it, a blue check mark means something digitally. When people write you with the blue check mark, it is different than with not.
Yep.
And it's not judging, it's just what it is.
Yeah.
So the digital NFT world is Gary explained it perfectly, where I finally understood, where I go, oh yeah, interesting. It means nothing, but yet means everything. It's not tangible. And then people say, well, can't you just take a picture and rip it off? It's like, yes, but you can take a picture and make a fake Mona Lisa, but it's not real. So that's the other thing. And then Kings of Leon released their album as an NFT.
What do you mean?
They sold it for, I think, millions of dollars. They released their new album.
So only one person has it?
The original. They own it. But everyone can download it and listen to it.
That doesn't make sense to me.
But they have it.
You know, really quick, just to circle back on everything that you were saying, just status power of now with the social media world. It's so interesting that all of these creators, people on reality shows, actors, singers, whatever it is you do, they have these platforms so that brands can say, hey, Pauly D, I think you look so cool. I want you to wear my jacket. And then he pays Pauly D to wear the jacket. And then all of his fans go, oh my God, I got to be like Pauly D because he's cool. He has status power. I want that jacket. And that's what happens, because I was watching Floribama Shore that just came back, and they're on like their 4th season now. And they all, because of social media, have built followings because of their show. So now they're making money because they were showing all of their lives before going to like the summer house. They all have nice cars now. They all have nice homes. They're all starting to get paid. Now, if this was 15 years ago, it might have taken longer. Like, I don't think Jersey Shore started making money until the seasons. Mm-hmm. And they were the first kind of generation to start on the MySpace and then go into social media. Now they have millions of followers and they're killing it. But it's just really funny to watch people who are given the platform nowadays, and they've been in a couple seasons, and now because of social media, they've all built huge brands on there.
Yep.
Which they're getting paid, which is like making them more successful and more filled with power and status and all of the above. It's just very full circle and very interesting to see.
Yeah, the whole shift is coming of, and it's really interesting how social media influencers get a bad rap, and I think I figured out why. Someone who's a doctor has high status, but someone like myself goes, I would love the high status. I think it's cool to help people. I think it's cool to be, I'm Dr. Freddie Smith, like, ooh, you make a lot of money. But you're like, oh my God, it's like a $400,000 investment. It takes 13 years of school. And then I'm like, oh, I'm not good with blood. And like, never mind. So you're kind of, no one gives beef to doctors.
Right.
You look up to lawyers, doctors, you're like, wow, status symbol. There's status symbols in influencing as well. But I think the reason that a lot of people hate on it is because anyone can do it if they wanted to. And it's a reflection on someone who, because people who don't care don't get upset about the influencer. I think people who don't like influencers deep down wish they could be. And they have the same, they don't have to go 13 years and 400,000 to post on social media and try to make it.
Right.
Same thing with acting. A lot of people don't talk, like when I talk about acting, people really love it because in their minds they go deep down, they're like, I want to be an actor, or I would like that, it's cool, but like I could never leave my home. I'm never going to move out to LA and do that. Like,
Right.
oh, the auditions, like, nah. But with social media, again, people are like, oh, I have a shot at it. And it's a reflection of like if they really wanted to. Because that's how you can really pinpoint where people are in their lives, is that if you're upset or triggered or something is said, it's like I told you before, if someone said all actors are stupid, if I really thought I was stupid, I would fire back and go, really? All actors are stupid? That's really blah, 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 because it touched something. If someone said all actors are stupid or all soap actors are stupid, I would just go, okay.
Yeah. You're not affected.
Because it's not real. Like,
Yeah.
I don't personally deep down believe that, so I'm not affected by it. But if someone were to say, oh, yeah, okay, fatso, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to act like it doesn't hurt. But yeah, I have a little belly. So maybe you shouldn't fat shame me. How about that?
Keyboard warrior.
But it touches your insecurity.
Of course.
And there's just, I don't know where to place, because the more that I watch movies, the more that I'm plugged into TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and everything, it just seems like a mess. It seems like a water park, a theme park prior pandemic, but people are running around and hopped up on stuff. It just seems like when you open up an app, it's just like everywhere. And I'm like, where do we fit in? Of like, what do we really talk about? What do we leave off the table? What do we touch on? And then there's things changing so fast that I feel like everyone's then backtracking, where we're now saying NFTs are great. And then in 6 weeks, you hear that something goes down, and then you're like, oh my God, we were promoting that. And then we're like, hey, everyone, so we didn't know 6 weeks ago, but this is, or these days too, you have to double check everything because everything is falling apart. And it's good that real like predators should be exposed.
Yes.
But it is so interesting that when I share stories now, you literally have to Google the person to make sure that they're not headline news where you go, I just promoted somebody and saying how awesome they were, or even someone else that we knew. I don't want to bring them up again.
Well, really quick too, even for me, I remember I was talking about Firefly Lane on Instagram stories because we were watching it. It's the show with Katherine Heigl. And I accidentally wrote Firefly. And then I remember hearing there was a show called Firefly. The creator of Buffy, Joss Whedon, had created it. And I always wanted to see it. And I was about to write that. And then I go, let me just look Joss Whedon up. And literally, I'm not even kidding you. At that time when I was about to write that, he was in the news for just like being really cruel to actresses and just all this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, good thing I didn't say that. Like, just there's so much coming out, and you just never know.
Well, and then also, too, though, because if you just said, oh, my God, I love this, and people go, Josh Whedon is just all over the news. Did you not check your feed before posting this? You're like, it had nothing to relate with. But if you're big enough or a mob comes after you, and then all of a sudden they're like, TikTok influencer, Instagram influencer, Alyssa Tabbitt supports Josh Whedon's actions. You're like, I didn't know this yet. And then all Huffington Post, all these people pick it up, and then you can never
You're canceled.
get on. So even if they didn't cancel you, you could never get on social media and get to all the people that had already spread.
That's true.
Because even with me, I remember there were times that, and this gave me perspective. I left the show February 13th of 2020. I came out with the video, got a lot of views. I was like, a lot of people know this. My followers, like fans, supporters. I was like, oh. Still in August, after 6 months of me on social media, all the time being like, yeah, I'm done, but we're doing a recap. I'm done, but we're doing, like, I felt like people were aware. And I would be on a live 6 months later going, yeah, and then, you know, Sunny's last day is September 1st. I'm looking forward to like seeing how it turned out. And people are like, wait, Sunny's off the show? Sunny's off the show? Or because I do lives a lot.
New people
because they're new
in.
people.
Yeah.
So if you do say something and it's taken out of context, you as a person, even as big as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, can never reach the 100 million people all around the world that happened to look at one feed at one time and saw one thing about you. They now think that about you, and they will not see your one live that you do on a Saturday at 2:00 that addresses that.
Yeah.
So the more you start seeing about people and you hear their story, you're like, wait a minute, this was taken all out of context because you actually go to the video, but then people clip the video. Where you just say, you know, like, you know, hey, I'm going to come out and I was going to say that I'm not sorry. And then I realized how wrong I was and I want to truly apologize. Where someone will take the clip that goes, I am not sorry. And then they'll post that and go, Freddie Smith says he is not sorry after blah, 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 blah. Comments goes out. People are like, he didn't even apologize. I'm like, no, I was going to say that I was not sorry. But then after reading all the comments, I realized I was wrong, and now I'm doing they'll take that clip. And so there's false information going around.
Yep.
It's a mess. You haven't seen the DeepFake Tom Cruise yet. So that's going to be when everything completely goes to a new level of just insanity, because people and artificial intelligence are now creating deep fakes. I want you to go to YouTube, everyone after this video, and type in Tom Cruise deepfake. They can generate and take you do not know it's not really Tom Cruise.
Is it another person with Tom Cruise's face on him?
Yes, but his voice and like you won't know it's not Tom Cruise.
Because there's this girl on TikTok who is very, very famous now because she looks like Charli D'Amelio, who's the darling of TikTok. Yeah. And basically someone unveiled this. They go, no, she's using deep fakes to look like her, because he went to every single video and goes, do you see how her face moves up, or just all these different details? So everyone started looking, and the girl started deleting all those videos that he called out. So she doesn't really look like Charli. She's using a deep fake to look like her.
And that's probably like low, like, and I don't know how advanced that is, but the fact that we can put on a filter right now that gets rid of your beard, that gives you a beard, it's a little like animated.
Or that smooths your skin out, or makes your nose, like there are literal filters I'll look at on Instagram, and it makes my lips way bigger, your eyes bigger, it gives you makeup, and I'm like, what?
So you can see that in the future, it's going to be, you're going to be able to basically create whatever you want to look like. You're going to be living inside this virtual world, and it's going to be here faster than we think.
Crazy.
We still can't fathom it because change happens so slowly, but we're already doing it.
Yeah.
You're already doing you see this all the time where people, it's just the angle. It's the lighting. It's the lighting. I look better when I have natural light hitting my face, then if you have this, or if you're down here, people always make, like my parents' generation, anytime you FaceTime,
they're always,
because they go for comfort. It's more comfortable to hold your phone down here, but it's a shot under your chin.
I'm always like, hello.
And I'm up here because you have a better neckline. I remember when I used to work and do like bed scenes, and afterwards when you're laying in bed, it's the worst. You feel so uncomfortable because you're sitting like this, and you have a double chin.
You're trying to like lift that, deliver your lines, sit in a good way.
But if you're like if you're like this, it's less attractive. If you're up, you look way better.
You look so handsome.
So people are already creating fake environments. They're you know, so
what a time to be alive, friends.
So I don't really know where it's gonna. I don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
Like I don't know the repercussions, the good and bad consequences of where it's going.
We'll see. Take it a day at a time. All you can do is enjoy this moment right now. And
this is all we have, and we have to appreciate like where we're at now. But I
think it'll be cool. Like 20 years, I'm really curious.
But you gotta think about if somebody was telling us in the future about 2015 to 2020, you're gonna say, yeah, this technology hit mainstream, and everyone was able to have a voice for the first time, and gatekeepers were no longer relevant, and you could create your own music and have your own voice, and you got to do what you wanted to do, and you could share ideas and find friends, and there's all that amazing stuff. And then watch TV from and then you're doing all this stuff. It's amazing. And then filters to make yourself look better and get rid of that little blemish, and like, oh my God, it's amazing. And then you can also pitch it as it was terrible. People were fighting and yelling at each other and canceling and getting people fired. And then it was exposing all that. Well, exposing stuff is good when people are actually doing bad things.
Yeah.
But there's just, yet again, it's amazingly awesome and amazingly terrifying at the same time. And people are being super depressed.
I know. And one last thing I'll say, because I know we do have to wrap up, but this just reminded me of a Black Mirror episode that I watched where basically this guy is married, he has a kid, and he's just not that happy with life. And then he goes into like VR world, and it's there that he has a character that he's in love with, and he ends up starting to choose this VR world over his real life because this is more exciting. He's a different character. He looks different, acts different, is in love over in this VR world. And then in real life, like he's happy, but there's such thrill and excitement in the VR life. And so that's what the whole episode's obviously about, the pros, the cons. Oh my gosh, what's happening? And we'll see that eventually.
Well, then I also saw someone say, instead of making filters to make yourself appear to be the person you want to be, why don't you take actions in your real life to improve yourself so you are the person without filters that you want to be?
Well, because that comes with the way you look, that comes with aging, that comes with, you know what I'm saying? Like when I'm 60 and I want to look like I did at 25, yeah, my body, I can still work out, but your skin changes, your face changes, you get wrinkles. Yeah, it's different. When I'm 60, I'm never going to be able to look like I did at 25. But that's on aging gracefully and being lucky to be alive, and to see those different things. But it's just different. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But, people who use filters to put makeup on and have hair and smooth their skin, it's not always that easy.
No, I feel you. And it's going to be really interesting to see, too, if people can truly eventually choose to create how they look in general. Like there's been movies about it, or I'm not saying you just make yourself look like how a filter is, but literally change. Like I could be a 6'2" blonde woman in the VR world. But I'm saying, I wonder what the evolution of relationships are going to be, where people aren't judging people based on how they look.
Yeah.
That imagine you're in a VR world and you're talking to somebody and you hear their voice, or maybe their voice has even changed, or who knows, but you're intellectually connecting with somebody or falling in love with somebody. But it's not what you got, but you don't really look like that in real life. But you're actually in love with each other's, what actually matters.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what happens even with like us. When we first got together, when you're like, I love you, it's like you love as much as you can about what you know of the person, but you're in love with the lust and the physical portion of it. And as much, like even the smells and the touch, like everything. And the year you're together, you love the things you've learned.
Yeah.
Once you go through life, the love between us is so deeper and so different because of the intellectual portion on top of everything else. The deep conversation, the deep knowing of each other. Like the love goes deeper. The protection I feel of you, of somebody like trying to like mess with you in public because of who you are as a person.
Yep.
Intellectually and inside more than what you fell in love with at the beginning. So what is the true love and the true protection? Because I would still fight for you at the bar when we were just together for a year, but it means something so much more now. Like there I would have fought and done everything. Like now I would go in knowing I would die if I had to protect you. But that's how deep the love has gotten on an intellectual level.
Yeah.
But in the real world, a lot of the times, but that happens at the workplace. There's times that you meet someone and you're like, oh, this person's not my type at all. I'm not physically attracted. But then you start to get to know them. And day by day, a year goes by, 2 years go by, you become best friends. Now you start seeing things like, I never realized how beautiful your eyes were. And then you start falling in love, and then you start becoming attracted to each other later. And sometimes that's even better because you sometimes might ignore the intellectual disconnects with someone because you're so in love with how they look that you ignore that they're like not what you're looking for here, but you're like, oh my God. Like, so it's just going to be,
crazy.
yeah.
You know, there was this quote I saw, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but it was basically stating, we weren't born to criticize ourselves. We were taught to criticize ourselves about those things. It wasn't exactly that, but meaning, say for me, it's, I wasn't born to go, oh my gosh, you know, I want a more contoured face. I was taught to think that, like, ooh, I should contour that. That looks better. Like, we weren't born thinking these things. We were taught. Or, oh, I shouldn't have hair on my upper lip. Or, oh, I shouldn't have that waistline, or whatever it is.
But yeah, this is the day and age that everyone's trying to figure all this stuff out.
Yeah.
And at what point do you look at what is natural that people are doing, or what has been put into our minds socially? And at what point is all of this worth diving into? And at what point do we just let people live their lives?
Yeah.
That's the other thing. A lot of people, yet again, are telling people what to do. And I think that's the mistake. If I was on here and saying, I think it's wrong for women to be attracted to powerful men. If you're a woman attracted to powerful men, that is wrong. It's like, who cares?
Just stay in your lane and comment on your
I don't
life.
need a powerful man. It's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do. It's like, but it's just, that's what everyone's talking about these days, is we're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Who is everyone? What is our purpose? What is our meaning? And that's becoming a lot more, an open dialogue.
Yeah.
Because we can talk to people endlessly.
Yeah.
And people are trying to figure out what happens after we die. Why are we here? What's our purpose? What's our meaning? And things are also changing. Mm-hmm. So, our purpose and meaning is because things are so fast now.
It's very interesting times we're living in. I'll tell you that much.
And also, too, last thing, because I know we've talked a while today, it makes me wonder when we have a kid how we're literally going to have a child in, say, 2023 and have literally no clue whatsoever what 2043 is going to be and what it'll be like for a 20-year-old in 2043.
I know.
In 1970, 1960, 1980, 1988, my parents knew that I was going to...
They didn't know you'd have internet and social media and content creation. They had no idea you'd be doing what you're doing right now. It wasn't real.
They don't, but they knew that I was going to go to high school, potentially college. That was still like the norm. You get a job, you work 40 hours, you barbecue, football. Like, that was like the thing. And especially in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, like, you kind of knew. I have no idea. I'm still sticking by that. They will never have to get a driver's license in 15 years.
They might want to, though.
They might want to, but there's going to be zero necessity for that. There is no way.
There might not be necessity, but I think it's going to be a freedom thing of, I want to do it.
Maybe like horses now. Like, some people ride horses or unicycles.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not really practical. I'm not going to hop on a horse to get to the grocery store.
You don't have to worry about parking.
I got to get a stable for my horse. Is he going to hang out front?
Yeah, they should have, like, next to the electric pumps,
God.
They have horse stables.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
No gas.
No gas.
It's great. No, there's going to be no way that they'll ever need to learn to drive.
We'll see.
In 15 years.
We'll see.
There's no way.
Come back to this podcast.
There is no way.
Years.
There's no way.
Freddie Smith said it here first.
There's already going to be autonomous Uber in a year or two in big cities. In 10 years, it'll be autonomous everywhere. And there's going to be no way is going to want to go, let me learn how to drive this dangerous vehicle when computers are doing it better. And why would I want to go spend 40 minutes in a car, like, doing what? Paying attention to driving when I can get into my steering wheel-less and pedal-less pod, put on my VR, and go hang out with my friends until the car gets me there, and then I get out.
As long as it's truly safe and they don't have any crazy malfunctions like they did. What was that one Amazon TV show we watched where the guy died from a malfunctioned car, and then he went to, like, it was like, well, because
I think it was altered, though.
It was a good show, though.
It was all right. Upload.
Upload. There we go.
Yeah, no, you're not gonna need. You're not gonna. It's a time saver. People go, oh, I like driving. It's like, well, you like driving as an activity.
Yeah.
Just like I like, shopping. But if I don't have to go spend an hour and a half at the mall and I can just get my package in an hour, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So driving, that's why rich people or people who are very busy have drivers, because they cannot use their mental energy and or their time for 2 hours in a car. They're in the back seat working on their paperwork, working on this stuff. They cannot pause their life for 40 minutes to drive. But because technology, everyone, no matter where you are in the financial portion, your time is what's going to be valuable. Yeah. So unless you like driving, unless you like cooking, unless you like riding horses, unless you want to drive a cool car, that's going to be more of a hobby than what it is now as a necessity. It's going to be straight up autonomous.
Well, we shall see.
We shall see. So anywho, let's get started. Welcome everyone to the. No, I'm gonna have to pre-record one, and we'll put it at the beginning. Well, thank you everyone for stopping by. We're wishing you the best week ever. My parents are getting here next Tuesday, so I'm gonna be doing a lot of cleaning, and I can't wait for them to be here. And then our friend Lauren Bavarnik is gonna be on the following Wednesday, so I'm gonna work on editing that, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. It was a really fun episode. So wishing you the best week ever, and we will talk to you soon.